Chapter 17. Indian Scouts Exploited, Distrusted. Captain Fraser found his Indian scouts unreliable and disloyal, but bitterly as he distrusted them, he nevertheless invariably exploited them. On June 14, 1779, he reported to General Haldeman the information he had from Captain McDougall that rebel Indians in 2 canoes on the morning of June 11th passed from the mainland to Carleton Island and carried off an artilleryman and a Negro from a working party and escaped in the presence of some bateaux which were bringing up provisions. McDougall sent a detachment to Fort Stanwix Road to intercept them. Fraser wrote, "I am credibly informed that the chief who at present presides in the Oswegatchie village was the first who invited the Oneida Indians to come to attack this garrison on account of some slight he thought was shown him last winter at Carleton Island, and the party that took scalps here some time ago brought him a protection and promise of friendship from Schuyler, which he has at present in his possession, though he has since been loaded with presents at Montreal." He reminded the general, "I long ago foretold the lukewarm disposition of the Indians toward supporting our hostilities against the rebels. I am convinced that nothing but threats, seconded by spirited measures against delinquents, will ensure their service or even prevent their taking part with the enemy, as many from the Canada tribes have done already." Fraser recommended that all officers in the management of Indians should be instructed to observe a steady and uniform conduct toward them, for while one blames and another commends, the service suffers, and the one is hated or the other despised. Haldeman replied, suggesting less salt and more flour for the Indians. "You complain of the expenditure of provisions to Indians. The scarcity of that article will point out to you the necessity of economy, and I could wish you to save the salt provision as much as you possibly can, making it up to them in flour." Later, on June 21st, the general chided Fraser, "As all presents are given at the post by the immediate approbation of this commanding officer, I should hope that it will not be found necessary to employ an officer in the management or distribution of the Indian goods." In early July, Fraser, accompanied by Major Mairn to Carleton Island, where the latter was to be the new commandant. Fraser complained to Haldeman about the laziness and unreliability of the Indians. "In their present temper, which seems to me to be of late very much altered for the worse, I never was witness to so much insolence on the part of the Indians as since my arrival at this post. They cannot be got to do a single piece of service without it to be beforehand purchased at 10 times as much as it is worth, and when refused any request, be it ever so unreasonable, they do not scruple to declare they will get better soon from the Yankees. Such as are only employed in measuring rum, tobacco, and breech-clouts to them will never hear but fair speeches from them. On receiving presents, they will promise 10 times as much as is required of them, and 100 times as much as they perform. The few Indians I had here of late belonging to this village could not be got to stir 100 yards from hence, and they went some time ago away entirely, without giving any previous notice of their departure. The Indians not remaining idle here is a great saving to government in provision, however, and I have at Carleton Island endeavored to put them on as frugal a plan as possible." On July 12th, Fraser reported to Haldeman that the Indians at Carleton Island idled 2 days, without the least cause for it. The greatest harm from that delay was the consumption of provisions, for the Indians on such occasions are not satisfied with a single ration, and many of them have taken their wives and mean to leave them to be victualled at Carleton Island till they return. Every means were used to be sparing of the provisions at this post, and flour and peas have been substituted for salt, and salt meat used ever since I came here, when the Indians could be prevailed on to accept it.